destroyed by a pack of Horriblins. It was awesome. It's about the feeling that these moments
Lunchtime after this.
One might look at these areas and determine there's nothing of substance to
Then I
do.
shower.
I would counter by
And
saying
until dinner
there's a
time,
veritable
I'll be
gold mine
working.
of things to feel.
I've got
In retrospect,
assignments
this is probably
and personal
the reason I love Twilight
activities and
Princess so much.
extracurricular
Why
activities I
love
want to
spending
spend my
with Super
time
Mario Sunshine's
doing.
Isle Delfino.
for
You know
this
why I would
extended
spend
break time I've
hours
been blessed
playing
with.
Minecraft. It was never about the diamonds. It was never about the Zonite. It was about striking the fear of the unknown into me. One of my favorite moments in Tears of the Kingdom was discovering the Zonai Construct Factory. The thundercloud formation above the Zonai ruins was one of the first places I wanted to explore. It was so big, I knew there had to be something special hidden away in there. I tried a few times to brave the storm, flying around with no visibility, feeling my way through it all. I wasn't making much discernible progress until I suddenly fell into a hole. I was greeted by a huge door reminiscent of the one I opened in the Temple of Time. It had a steep health requirement that I wasn't able to pass. I would have to return later. For the rest of my playthrough, I thought about this door. What was behind it? Why did it require so many hearts? Would this lead me to fixing my Master Sword? I couldn't stop wondering. Once I had a sufficient amount of hearts, I teleported back, opened the door, and discovered the Zonai Construct ruins, a hidden dungeon. This was one of the biggest things I wanted from Open Air Zelda. Discoverable dungeons. Except this is the only one in the game, it's built like all the other ones, and you'll also be pointed straight to it if you progress the main quest. If Tears of the Kingdom had one major pain point for me, it would probably be how restricted it can sometimes feel. While so many of its elements are the next logical step from Breath of the Wild, this one jarringly feels like a sidestep. The dungeons take after the Divine Beasts. You enter them with their respective stage, activate the 5 terminals, and fight the boss. While Tears of the Kingdom certainly borrows a lot from
I want to
Breath
make the
of
most out of my
Wild's
attack
structure,
up.
this is one of the few areas in which I feel it returns out of sheer obligation. Sure, they all have unique theming now. Unique boss fights, that's all well and good. Golgara's theme blew my socks off. I am listening to it as I write this. I am by no means saying I dislike them. They have incredible music, inspired visual design, and more solid build-up sections with their stages. What I am saying, though, is that they only technically qualify as an upgrade to a Divine Beast. Even then, they lack their novelty as an idea, and need to lean on the game's more creative puzzle design. Granted, some of these puzzles are great. The one where you have to make an icicle fishing rod in the Wind Temple is brilliant. And the way I solved it was to somehow wedge myself through the hole because I am a goblin. I love being able to climb them, as it adds a different dimension to how you need to progress through them. The Lightning Temple benefits from this a lot. You climb up to higher levels and sometimes even ascend to hidden rooms. I had a decent amount of fun breaking my way through these, but they still feel too restrictive in their approach. In making a direct sequel to Breath of the Wild, I feel like the only way forward is to push its ideas to their logical extremes. And in many ways, it does that. Your new powers emphasize the freedom to create, as do the puzzles you solve with those powers. You're given expansive new spaces to explore these creations, and despite it following the same shrine and Korok structure, it doesn't register to me as simply more Breath of the Wild. In spirit, yes. In practice, not necessarily. Looking back, the weirdest parts of Breath of the Wild were the lead-ups to the Divine Beasts. Almost all of them felt the same, were short enough as to not even register, and always felt like forced formalities. I remember wandering around that world and being a bit disappointed. I couldn't simply rock up to the beast myself and start exploring. Tears of the Kingdom felt like the opportunity to let go of this, but it's doubled down instead. The Water Temple sits in the sky at the top of a huge string of islands. Unlike the Divine Beasts, nothing is stopping the player from reaching these dungeons, barring the Lightning Temple. You can drop in, explore, solve all of the puzzles, but if you don't have the sage with you, you can't actually activate any of the terminals. Oh, I actually ended up opening the Lightning Temple far before I was supposed to, solving the Triforce-like puzzle behind Gerudo Town. I was left with this puzzling monument that I couldn't interact with no matter how hard I tried. I had basically done this for no reason, since Riju was the only person capable of interacting with this. Unfortunately, I think the team decided they wanted to make the sages more directly involved, lengthy, and build up to a proper climax. There's an event in Hyrule Castle you can only trigger once you've done their 4 dungeons, and they play a more prominent role during the final boss encounter. The inclusion of an area like Lookout Landing as a base of operations contributes to this as well, as you return here far more frequently to reconvene. I don't know if this works to the strengths of open-air Zelda. These games are quite light on pre-established stories. They instead focus on giving players the tools they need to create their own stories, with the characters serving as background elements. It feels like a bit of a fool's errand to give them more focus because they are always going to be such a minuscule part of your adventure, at least within the framework of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom's approach to open-air Zelda. I think having the sages pal around with you does more for them than any of their cutscenes do. I don't think it's impossible for open-air Zelda to juggle some of the strengths of linear storytelling. I certainly don't think Breath of the Wild was ever built to do so. Its strengths were always in quieter ways.
I guess this is just here.
Tears of the Kingdom, soaking up the lore of the Zone 9, learning about the Gerudo heroines, solving the riddles of the Typhlo runes. This is what I found most interesting about the dungeons, that they're ancient landmarks associated with various legends. The Stormwind Arc, Goronbia, the Waterworks. I think they would have fit in more naturally if they instead took after the design ethos of Hyrule Castle. Strangely, there aren't any Hyrule Castle equivalents in Tears of the Kingdom. I suppose the depths and cave systems fulfill a similar function, but it is a shame not to have these ancient temples fill that role, perhaps housing little bits of lore, armor pieces, or other goodies. I don't know what the Zelda team is thinking. Maybe they enjoy making dungeons that progress a main story. Looking in from the outside, it feels to me like they're a bit afraid to step too far outside that mold. They want to give players a path they can follow if making their own path is too difficult. In doing so, however, I think they begin to undermine the strengths of open-air Zelda as a concept. People are naturally going to gravitate towards what they're interested in. The giant cyclone in the sky will be of interest to a lot of people, I guarantee it. I don't think there was a need to force players to meet Tulin before doing this. Despite placing players onto a path, they don't actually need to follow it. I did the cool lead-up to the Stormwind Arc, but I could have made a flying machine and bypassed most of it. After all, I accidentally flew into the Water Temple. There are shrines on these paths, too, natural points of interest for those exploring the skies. It feels a bit cruel to have them climb all the way to the top and then deny them access to the really cool bit. It's all the more puzzling to me because they haven't actually changed anything about how you finish the game. You can still immediately run to Ganondorf. You don't actually know where he is this time, but once you do figure it out, you can fight him whenever you want. It confuses me that the dungeons cannot also be this way, that they are the only element that is this restricted. Tears of the Kingdom's weakest moments come from the fact that it is too similar to Breath of the Wild. Even though I have a fairly solid grasp on them, its controls are still too arcane in nature. Occasionally, even I'll get a little confused as to which button I need to press in combination with another button. I've had my fair share of menu rabbit holes where I scroll through my ridiculously huge inventory in search of a specific item. It's a critical mass when trying to call upon your sages, as you need to physically walk up to them to activate their abilities. I think this was done because the Switch controller is already overstuffed with commands, and I don't even know how they would have fit 5 more shortcuts onto it, so we end up in a situation where you sometimes need to hunt down your companions to use their powers. Did you know that to put the livelihood down, you have to talk to an NPC in a Dino village? I have no clue why this isn't simply a menu option. I don't know why we can't just select the entire gear sets instead of always letting you individually equip every piece of gear. I don't why great theories still require you to upgrade each piece of armor individually. Even Sonic Frontiers solved that problem. Although there is now a recipe book, you still have to make each dish individually. I also think we have graduated beyond having to enter a shrine to receive a blessing. The one blessing shrine that twists your expectations and forces you to actually solve a puzzle was cool and all, but it did not justify me having to walk into a room, wait for it to load, receive my spirit orb, leave, and wait for it to load again 50 times over. We probably did not need to be shown the same cutscene of the imprisoning war at the end of every dungeon either. It's basically a cliche in and of itself to say that something isn't perfect. I mean, yeah, of course it isn't. Nothing is. Perfection shouldn't even be an ideal to strive toward anyway. It is a meaningless parameter that everyone will define differently. This is simply a list of things that kind of annoy me. I don't think they play to the strengths of this format, but I have hope that Zelda team will be able to find creative ways to solve these problems like they always have. They've earned my benefit of the doubt. They've given me so much already, I feel like I owe them that much.
Fucking hell, what's up with this lag?
I am not at all surprised that people are not fond of Tears of the Kingdom storytelling. If you weren't a fan of it in Breath of the Wild, this isn't going to suddenly change your mind. People obviously want something from Zelda that the devs are outspoken about no longer providing. Honestly, I don't even know if what people want was ever in Zelda to begin with. People crave continuity. Aonuma came out and said that all of the Sheikah tech mysteriously disappeared when Calamity Ganon was sealed, and it caused a huge uproar. Clearly, the Zelda team have given up crafting a coherent continuity, something they definitely cared about doing before. Plus, as lame as this response is, it's not like it doesn't make sense. It's just a tad unsatisfying and goes against what someone wanted them to do. The fact of the matter is, even if this is a direct sequel, the team still wanted the creative license to do whatever they wish with it. That clearly meant that they wanted Zona Tech to be at the forefront. Sheikah Tech, absolutely. I'm not even really sure what this would have done for the game, but there have been some NPC moments there to be like, oh yeah, the Sheikah Tech disappeared suddenly. How odd?
I'll take
Because
the
overall
first
sentiment
move this
would be,
time.
why did they disappear then? And those questions will keep getting asked until there's a thorough explanation. But like, who cares? I certainly don't. This is the same franchise where Ocarina of Time is supposed to be the imprisoning war, and Twilight Princess somehow takes place in the same Hyrule. None of it has ever really made any sense, and I'd argue that Tears of the Kingdom is still the closest attempt they've ever made at a direct continuation of retaining some sense of their You check in with the character that you met and see how they're getting on. Inoue founded a mining company, Sidon is engaged and getting ready to become the new king. Ura is following the footsteps of Sheikah, recreating their tech in the wake of its clear absence. Every character you might wonder about has been given a new purpose, except for Teba, for some reason. I think they wanted a smaller character model for the sage that you most often see flying around with you, but hey, Tulin has really grown on me, so whatever. But see, that's what I mean. Zelda has always been a gameplay-focused series. The reason the earlier 3D games were able to focus on their stories so much was a result of their linear focus. That kind of approach naturally lent itself to more involved stories, to bridge the gaps between dungeons. But even still, it was always created to enhance whatever gameplay idea they were running with. That has never meant the storytelling has been bad, and I don't think that's the case with Tears of the Kingdom either. I actually think it has a much stronger command on this style of storytelling than Breath of the Wild did, utilizing smaller details to build out the main conflict. Ganondorf, for example, doesn't get a ton of present-day screen time. We see his exploits in the past, and a bit of him at Hyrule Castle before confronting him in his lair. His actions in the present are much less outspoken, as he schemes his way around the world in the form of Puppet Zelda. He is responsible for releasing the dungeon bosses and corrupting the 4 major areas. He even throws his phantom puppets in different corners of the world in an attempt to subdue you. I had a heart attack the first time one of these grabbed me and the world turned a shade of red. He plays a very active role, even if he's not always there to talk down to you. That's pretty much always been Ganondorf's style. Back in Ocarina and Twilight Princess, he's down for the single and others to get what he wants. And around his life for the rest of the game, playing on his piano, sitting on his throne waiting for it. I should say this is my favorite variation on this one. Here, he has a visible hatred, filled with jealous of their status and wanting it for himself. Like that he uses a similar combat style to people with all the same weapon types. He has a badass aura around him at all times. That scene where he shows Link and Sages what he plans to do to Hyrule gave me chills. He is the more powerful version of what Calamity Ganon was. All of his power and more, with a manipulative intelligence to back it up. Calamity Ganon was simply the uncondensed form of his burning hatred of the thousands of years, seeping out from below Hyrule Castle, and it was able to wreak that much havoc as an uncontrolled force of nature. Oddly, I feel like a lot of people are trying to evaluate Tears of the Kingdom as its own story, but I think it works better as a part 2. Breath of the Wild laid so much of the foundation for this world and its conflict.
Which is why it sucks even more that there's so many continuity issues.
Satisfying as I was expecting. But now that Tears of the Kingdom has one-upped it so spectacularly, I look at Calamity Ganon with a new perspective. He was simply the stepping stone to something darker, the midpoint to a larger epic. That may not have been their intention when creating Breath of the Wild. That just means that what they were able to create with Tears of the Kingdom felt so natural to me that I assumed this was their plan all along. The memories of Breath of the Wild were fine, served their purpose in filling the blanks of what the player already knew to happen. That final memory will always tug at my heartstrings, but at the end of the day, all they really do is paint you a clearer picture of something King Rome already told you about. Tears of the Kingdom uses the same format to set up a mystery with a much less clear answer. I was much more interested in seeing these out because although they take place thousands of years ago, it is the present-day Zelda we end up following, meaning that its events are immediately relevant to us. They serve the purpose of teaching us about the first king of Hyrule, his relationship with the first queen of Hyrule, Ganondorf's rise to power, and the being of his life. While also revealing to us the fate of Zelda. Zelda has come a long way as a character. Her confidence was once non-existent. She constantly compared her shortcomings to others. She wasn't able to awaken her powers in time, likely blaming herself for the fall of her kingdom. She's able to trap Calamity Ganon for a time, forced to rely on Link to finish the job. By this time, she had clearly gained confidence in her abilities. In the years following the calamity, she dedicated herself to rebuilding her fallen kingdom. She built a school in Hateno village, built monuments to fallen soldiers across the land, and tasked Korra with recreating the lost Sheikah technology. You get the sense that she's quite comfortable leading her kingdom, in the only way she knows how. It helps that Link clearly has her back no matter what, and it's implied that she started living in his house at Hateno village, a house with only one bed. I might add. The fact that she even goes with Link to investigate Ganondorf at the beginning of the game shows that even though she lives in service of her people, she obviously has her own interests. She's a scholar at heart, geeking out over the murals depicting the imprisoning war, and no doubt delighting in getting to meet these pivotal figures when she travels to the past. We don't get to see as much of her as I would have liked, but it's enough to build her relationship with these legendary figures of the past. Sonia's death affects her as much as it does everyone else, and from that moment on, she is dedicated to stopping Ganondorf. Of course, she knows they won't be successful, as he's been unleashed in the present, and at that moment, she knows that she has done all she can. Link has to pick up her pieces and finish the job. She receives the broken Master Sword from him, holds it in her hands, and performs a forbidden act in one of the game's most powerful moments. That dragon we saw flying around, that was Zelda. She turned herself into a dragon and hid herself away for thousands of years, pouring her life into the Master Sword to make it strong enough to oppose Ganondorf. This Master Sword pull, resting atop the Light Dragon, is legendary. It is the best Master Sword grab in the franchise, and it isn't even close. Just look at this. You know, I wasn't really sure at the end of Breath of the Wild. I like this version of Link and Zelda, but I wasn't sure how I felt about the grand scheme of their various incarnations. Tears of the Kingdom cemented their place for me. This is absolutely my favorite incarnation of these characters. Link is defined, in this game especially, by his connections to others. He takes the time to help Hyrule rebuild. He solves the problems plaguing the sages. He helps rebuild the destroyed Lurelin village. He's there to settle a major dispute in the Dano village. He's there to become a journalist and investigate Puppet Zelda. The sages lend him their power in return. Zelda lends him hers before her reforged Master Sword. Raru's right hand supplants the one Link lost, giving him new abilities. Through his willingness to forge connections with others, his ability to help Hyrule heal, he rocks up to Ganondorf with a newfound purpose. With the help of the sages, he decimates Ganondorf's army before fighting the man himself. As I mentioned before, his style is a mirror of Link's. He has all of his weapon types fueled by the power of darkness his secret stone amplifies. He's even able to mimic your flurry rush, truly a mirror match for the ages. There's a crucial difference between you and Ganondorf, though. He sees power above all else. He doesn't care about his kingdom. He only cares about claiming the throne, and he'll do so through his own power. The Gerudo have forsaken him, so all that's left are his twisted creations and his dark power. He is built to destroy, sapping the life out of everything he touches. You were built to create, able to fuse objects together and rebuild. This is not only a battle between darkness and light, it's a battle between destruction and creation. Ganondorf's theme is incredible. It starts with a slower, more foreboding rendition of his classic Japanese shamisen, alluding to his samurai-inspired design. I think this is a shamisen, but to be honest, I have no idea. It certainly sounds like one. This is the duel to end all duels, in the heart of Ganondorf's festering gloom. Eventually, he stops playing around and unleashes his full power. Probably the coolest Ganondorf has ever looked. He sends his puppets to overwhelm you. Just as you had theirs, the sages have your back. Their entrance and the musical leitmotif that accompanies it gave me chills the first time I heard it. Ganondorf's theme builds, with the shamisen growing more prominent. Once his puppets are dealt with, he sends a surge of power, rendering everyone immobile. Except for you. I think, in this moment, he truly sees you as his equal, and beckons you forward in a true one-on-one duel. His power is bursting out of you, able to permanently destroy your maximum hearts. The power of these blasts was able to destroy the Hylian shield, the most durable shield in the game, in a few hits. He isn't screwing around. Either you hit his projectiles back at him with the Master Sword, or you have to chain flurry rushes together in succession. It's here where his full theme kicks in, a final rendition of the theme of Lights. This has the gravitas of the duel at the end of Twilight Princess, but actually asks something of you mechanically. Yet, Ganondorf isn't done. In an inversion of Zelda's own, where she sacrificed her autonomy to help Link, the one she loves most, Ganondorf eats his secret stone out of pure desperation and a lust for more power. His ambition is so great that he would sacrifice his intelligence, his sentience, before surrendering. He cares for nothing else. He grabs Link and flies into the sky, the domain of the gods. He has finally gained enough power to reach the heavens. Link is completely out of his league. He has no chance on his own. But as we've seen consistently throughout his adventures, he has never been.
Oh, where the heck's the shrine I'm looking for? Whatever, I give up.
Begins. Link is poised to fight the dragon on top of another dragon. Some of the sickest imagery in anything I've ever seen. This is it. This is the root of all evil, as we've come to learn. The source of Hyrule's woes. He was responsible for ending Sonia and Rauru. He was responsible for the various calamities. He was responsible for killing the champions, the soldiers of Hyrule, and Zelda's father. He was responsible for ending the world, and he's about to try doing that again. Atop Zelda, Link draws the Master Sword for one final time, and the coolest fight in any Zelda game ensues. This is where the main theme finally kicks in, as you dive onto Ganondorf's weak points and systematically kick the shit out of him. With Zelda there to catch you, eventually you get him down to his most desperate state, where he summons the Blood Moon to soak in as much power as he possibly can. I remember moving my camera to meet him while Zelda carried me into the sky, the Blood Moon swelling behind him, coating the world in a red hue, larger than it ever had before. I sat there for a few seconds in awe, completely blown away by what I was seeing, until I took one final dive, dodging his blasts, landing on his head, and destroying his secret stone. He proceeded to explode in a column of darkness, eradicating him once and for all, as Link greets the rising sun atop a dragon of light. I have no words for this shot. I made it my phone background. I cannot believe I'm saying this, but they did it. They made the best Zelda ending. It's better than Twilight Princess. I am not joking. I've had months to think about this. All of this within the framework of Breath
This
of
wasn't
the
what I was
Wild,
looking for,
while
but
not
it was
changing a
enough, I
single
suppose.
thing about its storytelling structure, speaking solely through its open-air, non-linear design. I won't argue that this style of story is perfect. Sometimes I wish we got just a little more time with these characters. Part of me wishes we got to see the memories in order this time. Part of me wishes they elaborated on a few more of Breath of the Wild's mysteries. Yunobo is still one of the worst characters they've ever made, but Zelda stories have never been perfect. I have enjoyed all of them in spite of how simple they are, and this one is no different. Turns out, even when Zelda has changed everything about itself, the magic that made us fall in love with it never truly died. Expectations can be poisonous. They are a rabbit hole of exponentially increasing desire. The longer something takes to create, the more expectations will build, until it spirals into something nobody has any control over. We become so caught up in how something might meet or exceed our expectations that we begin to lose what that creation is, what it's trying to do. Art is often an exchange between creator and connoisseur. While it is perfectly acceptable for artists not to share their creations with anyone, they often do so anyway. The first time is always quaint. Bewilderment, fascination, adoration. The artist has gained a patron, one who eagerly awaits new creations. As this relationship develops, a pressure begins to build. There's a desire within the artist to keep improving their skills, to make pieces that transcend what they've previously made. As the artist seeks growth, so too is the patron, their obsession with the word growing. Their desire to feel that same sense of wonder again building. The need to outdo the previous work spirals out of control. The artist takes longer to make something. They stress about the smallest details. They begin to wonder how they even made it this far to begin with. What is their artistic voice again? What is their style? Are they making anything truly worthwhile? The connoisseur grows more and more impatient, and with that impatience comes a more hypercritical mindset. They study every little blemish, eager to inform them that this piece is not as spectacular as the last, as their expectations grow into something no one could possibly. Maybe the artist isn't even interested in meeting those expectations anymore. Maybe they want to do something different. Maybe they're at odds with what they want to achieve. But the patron doesn't care. They want what they want. They want the piece they dreamed up in their head. And if they don't get it, they're going to be very disappointed. This cycle continues and continues and continues until the artist makes something the patron didn't even know they wanted. I was not originally going to make a video on Tears of the Kingdom this early into its life. In many ways, I regret how quickly I jumped onto Breath of the Wild. I rushed through it for the video and soured an experience that was made for me in the process. I did not want to do that in Tears of the Kingdom, and in fact, it took me 3 months to do everything I wanted. On and off play, a few days at a time, to until eventually I had reached a sense of completeness. My much healthier relationship with gaming and critique, something I was able to glimpse in my previous videos on the topic, helped to give me the confidence I needed to put these thoughts on the page. Like Zelda, I feel that I have undergone my own transformations. What held me back, I have left behind. I have embraced a limitless, terrifying freedom to do whatever my heart desires. The freedom to create, and the joy that comes from sharing those creations with the world. That is Zelda. That is my channel. These past 8 years doing YouTube have been some of the best years of my life. And all of you are as much part of that as my own growth. Those of you who were there at the beginning, those of you.
So today we're just going to talk about the FNAF movie. We just saw it last night, and we have a lot to say about it.
Yeah. Pretty great movie. Honestly,
I think awesome is
it's
the right
exactly
word
what I
for it.
expected. Awesome is a great word for it.
Yeah.
I think the best part about the entire movie, this is a full spoiler episode, by the way.
Yeah. I'm going into this expecting. If you're watching this, you're in it.
Yeah, okay, so...
Oh shit.
Oh.
I hate that about the new update. Who the fuck thought it was a good idea to speed up when all I want to do is minimize?
Welcome back to the next session of
Here's what I think of you.
Today, I am picking up exactly where I left off, creating a base. I actually didn't get round to making a base last session, which is the first thing I try and do, is create something, just so I have an anchor point. Even if I ditch it, I like to have something. I am going to try and create an orchard, just so I can get a proper supply of apples. For these things, these lovely babies, golden apples. Things went so well in the first episode that I didn't lose a single heart by the end of it. I'm still on 30, and after talking to everyone else, some people aren't in the best of shape at all. Other people are doing pretty well, and they're at 30 as well. And, oh, your secret is... Ready. Oh, here we go. I'm gonna read it. I'm already muted again. I've got to move 5 people's front door at least twice. You must not be called out. That's a mammoth target. That seems really short. And like move 5 people's door at least once. Wow. Okay, so that's 10 full movements. Well, at least people have actually got front doors. And I think my best bet is to just go when they're not there. If I get called out enough, I failed. This isn't one that I think is going to be impossible for me. Aha, our first tree in the orchard is ready, so now we know this works. Right, first things first, let's get ourselves a nice bridge. Now there's actually a bunch of stuff added in this particular one. Actually, I'm going to get a golden apple. And I'm going to light this up. So I'm about to go skeleton hunting. Because there's actually something that's been added. What? There's something that's been added. I'm trying really hard to talk to you guys. Ow! That's why we have the golden heart. Okay. Didn't get the luck that I was hoping for. But what I was trying to tell you is that mobs have a very small chance of dropping their own egg on the floor. And in this series, we have the option of crafting up our very own mob spawners for us to use in whatever way we see fit. So if we can get a skeleton egg, we can make an arrow farm. And that's going to be pretty big. Oh, well, just now. Whoa, heads up, heads up. Hello? Who's? Excuse me? What are you doing? What are you up to? Heads up what? Heads up where? Heads up? Go on, shoot in the air. Yeah. Go on. Yeah? Oh, you wanna play this game? Go on, I bet you won't hit me. I bet you will. Go on, I bet you won't hit. Where is it? Put it in the air again, put it in the air again. If it hits you, you're out of the series. Go. Stand still. If it hits you, you have to stop. In 3, 2, 1, freeze. When it hits you, delete your channel. That was so close. Oh my god. I've just lost it. I forget every time! I forget! Oh my god! You're about to lose another pal. I'm just... I'll do it. Ethan. Are you threatening me? You're at 16 hearts now? I'm at... Let me count on my fingers, and I'm at 15 and a half, yeah. You got 15 fingers? Hey! I hope you guys were being nice to my little humble abode.
Oh, that was yours. Okay, cool. Yeah, that was lovely.
That doesn't sound very sincere.
It was lovely, of course. It was beautiful, yeah.
If I go up there and there's things missing.
No, there's nothing missing. No! There's nothing to take, really, to be honest with you, mate. We looked. This is my book you're talking about.
You know what? This bridge has worked out brilliantly. I can't believe it. It's almost perfect. It actually lined up. Spot on. That very rarely happens. Like, it's always one block off or
Oh,
so.
I don't think this cutscene's
Look at that.
working properly.
What a perfect diagonal bridge. Oh. This might be the first time that this invisibility potion, because I can do my task while invisible. I can't get called out if they cannot see me. They won't know who's here. Now that you feel sorry for me because I've taken some damage, I'm going to remind you that we have some Life Series merch. Go to lifeseries.shop, link in the description. We got hats, we got scarves, we got pins, we got stickers, we got t-shirts and hoodies, and my personal favourite, the Drip Heart hoodie. We got some real life prototypes. You can see how good the embroidery looks on these. If you want to consider supporting me and the other Life members, then please head on over there and have a look and see if you like anything. If you want to guarantee Christmas delivery, you need to place your order before the 5th of November 2023. Let's get back to the video. Oh! Half a heart down the drain. A lot of these are just going to be 1 hearts from just taking some silly damage. I know it. I know where this is going. I'm gonna take so much. Just 1 heart from 3 block jumps. If I can get enough iron, I can actually get one of these Feather Falling. I've got 2 Feather Falling, but I can get Feather Falling 4. If I can get an anvil, or even just access someone else's anvil, I've got some big gains, but I really would like... See, there's a lot of things. I'd like to do that on some diamond boots, so I can get this in the long run. Alright, we're gonna do a solo raid mission here. That's what we're gonna do. What is he doing? It's an arrow. Right, this is weird. This is strange behaviour.
Oh, what does this look like? Wait.
An arrow.
Okay, great. Oh, okay, that's good.
What are you pointing at?
So my base is down here, which need to work on. It's really weird to get to, by the way.
Keep going.
Yeah, it keeps going. I'm still working on the entrance. Okay, left. Yeah, that's right.
What are you doing? Are you
We're gonna go up. Just work with me here.
What?
Watch this. You wanna see something cool? You wanna see something cool?
Kind of.
Wait. It's really awesome.
Is this a bad magic trick? Is that what? Scary!
Don't show anyone else.
What do you
You
mean?
need to see this.
I don't think anyone wants to see
This is in the works. It's gonna be great. I promise you.
Okay. They need to be one block forward. There we go.
Oh, thank you. Much better.
Oh no, not much better. Hold on.
I will expand this up.
There we go.
It's like an underground hotel. Maybe. I don't know yet.
Is what you're doing something you're not allowed to tell me? Because I gotta tell you, B, this is strange. I feel like I'm in the back rooms.
Now that you say it, there's nothing yet. This is still in the works.
It's so dangerous. It's so dark. What?
It's a rough draft.
What? Is this your base?
It's part of it.
You are weirding me out every session.
It's not done. You can't judge it now.
Why are you acting so suspiciously? But there's an arrow that points down to this place.
I promise you, it's gonna be magnificent.
I tell you what, I appreciate the bee on the ceiling.
I love you so much. I'm so glad he knows that.
I'm gonna leave you to whatever's going on down here. If your task is to bring people down to this weird back rooms, then you've succeeded.
Thanks.
This is so strange. You threw that together so fast. Hello, friend.
Hi, fellow traveler. Would you like to step into Trader Scar's?
Is this yours?
Yeah, come on inside.
Yeah, I'm here for my goods that you've stolen from me. Don't trust this man, Green.
No, there was no...
Don't trust this man.
After 5 series, I think I know not to buy.
I just want to have it be known that the deal was for Flint. You thought it was fun to steal, and I
You definitely
graciously...
said Adam Steele.
I will trade a golden apple for a heart.
Right, see you later. Not a chance. Not a chance.
Wow.
It's not happening.
Okay.
I would say
Hold
give
on.
it in an
Hold on,
emergency,
hold on.
right, Grant?
You're gonna give me your heart for a golden apple.
Why are we tearing down my establishment?
Sorry.
What the heck?
Sorry.
A man can't keep his walls together in this place. Jeez Louise.
I will trade a golden apple for art. Wait, no, that. Yeah, I would do that.
Okay, I'll do it. Gift it.
Oh, we've got a deal. We've got a deal. Hold on. This is a private area. Stop breaking my walls.
Gift it.
Wait, what trade did you do?
He's giving me a heart for a golden apple.
Oh, I was just about to come and do that.
Wait, no. I thought it was the other way around, Scott. I was gonna give you
I
the
thought it
golden
was the
apple.
other way around.
No, I was gonna give you the golden apple.
No, I was going to give you the golden apple.
You're gonna give me the
I
light.
was going to give you the golden apple.
Listen,
I'm
fellas,
confused now.
we can figure this. I'm the one with 2 golden apples
And
here.
the life.
Let's have Pearl decide this. She's smart and intelligent and wonderful
Let's do
person.
it.
Come on,
That's not
everybody.
it. Oh,
Come on, Jimmy, come on. We're going to decide this.
Is this up? There we go. A door ready. Another door for me. Look, listen. The deal is, I give you a golden apple, you gift me the heart. That was the deal on the table.
No, that was the deal for me was a golden apple for a heart. That's what I
Well,
said.
I'm not gifting you the heart. I'm giving it to someone special.
Wow.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. No, I'm not even gonna fall for this. I got guilted into helping you out last time, and you got a ton of stuff. I'm not being
I'm just getting bamboozled left and right over here. And told I was cheating when I was just getting the iron the whole time. That house is on fire. Somebody's burning the house down.
nice. That's not much of a house, though, is it? It's more like a...
It wasn't much of a house.
No, and it's not much of a fire either.
The golden apple's worth way more than
Whoa. Have they done...
Excuse me? What?
Oh,
What is it? What? Thank you so much for burning down my house. Oh, wait, what's your lie? That's yours.
Right,
That was
2
my
things.
house.
2 things I want to point out, fella. Like, yeah, okay, you passed the test. 1, not much of a house. 2, not much of a fire.
Right. Cut that out.
On paper, you've succeeded. You've got someone to set your house on fire.
That wasn't. Wait.
But just like looking at that a little bit objectively, not much of a house, not much of a fire, and the fire's out.
Yeah, Carol was like a set on parcel fires.
Oh, so it would have been adequate, but it was.
No, it's still going. It's still going. To be fair.
It's still going to the back. Yep, I'll still finish the job. Go finish the job. Let me go put it out.
Why?
How did you convince it to do that?
Because I told him it was Scar's shack. It was Scar's! He's got a shack complex with Scar, so I told him that was Scar's first shack. He's got a roast. Hey, first thing, mine, right? I know we've just been hanging out for the first, 20 minutes.
You've been played. This house.
There is. Okay, zombie.
I can just... I'm a single house. Yes, I am.
Alright, I have it. Hello? Is somebody tunneling? Cleo, there's somebody digging around here.
Not me. I don't care about anyone digging around, I promise. Like, nothing to do with me. I'm just getting better.
I don't have a pickaxe, but if I did, I'd dig to your location. I get it.
So we were wondering,
Okay, yeah.
your cows. You got a lot of them.
Yeah, people are always coming here after my cows. Good luck, but there's something behind it.
Oh no! Need that? Can I get you a ride? I'll need one too, not soon maybe. Can I get you a high-speed cow transport?
Wait,
Yeah,
hold on!
it's
Guys!
What type of...
Stop!
What?
There's some dirt blocks in your cow zone as well. So you can stay in your house.
Why people
Why did you put a massive corner?
That does seem strange. That does seem strange.
It's unnecessarily risky. That counts as one. I'll go back and do it again.
Yeah,
What's that on my house?
I'm just cooking some fish. I'm cooking fish, don't worry.
Have you haven't moved in, have you? I've had this problem before.
No, don't worry, I'm literally just here to cook some fish because I'm starving. You go for a pumpkin roof, I see.
Pumpkins, honeycombs. In fact, let me just share my Venus right now. Oh no! It's happened again! For the third time, I can't believe it!
What?
That's
Lizzie, you're in so much trouble, not just with the bees.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of danger. And I don't have a roof.
What are you trying to do with the bees?
Just trying to get the honeycomb. I just like, oh gosh, oh, are you okay? I'm fine. These are my friends.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm just a little worried about you there.
I don't know why you would be. I sound fine.
You got any ancient debris you want to trade?
Actually, you know what? I have 3 ancient debris. Don't really know where it came from. But I have 3. Well, that depends. What do you do with ancient debris?
Make netherite.
Right. Is that difficult?
It's expensive.
Yeah, sounds out of my price range. I'd be willing to trade.
I've got lapis. I can give you a bunch of stuff. I got
How about orange dye?
That's not in my not something I carry around with me every day, but I could get that for you.
Okay. If you can get me
Yeah,
16 orange dye,
yeah.
I'll give you 3 ancient debris.
Right, okay. I'll do that.
Thank you.
That's the wildest trade I've ever seen. I might be able to do it right here, right now. Just it's wild.
So terrified there.
What the heck is going on?
Oh no, Robo!
Sever, apparently.
Use your shield! Use the shield!
I'll give it credit. Look at that.
Oh no! Oh, iron swords kind of suck. I'm taking unnecessary risks now. Okay. That is possibly the worst deal ever for Lizzie, so I'm gonna try and offer her some other stuff as well. But if she wants orange dye, I've got it. Alright, Lizzie.
That's fast.
Well, I took a load of damage trying to do that at night. Here you go.
Really?
Yeah,
It
24.
would be such a dangerous
I do.
path.
24 of that. And I think I'll give you a few other extra bits.
Ooh.
I'll even throw in a golden apple.
Wow!
And some cactus, because there's not a lot of it on the server. I can offer you 1 infested stone, if that interests you.
Oh, it does. It does indeed.
Give you 2 then.
Thank you.
There we go.
Okay. And here is your
Damn.
ancient debris.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. I don't have a way to use it yet, but I will do. Yeah, Lizzie's not the best business person.
Why? What happened?
She traded me 3 ancient debris for 16 orange dye.
Come on, let's play one game.
Yeah, that's really bad.
She's like, oh, if you get me, and I'm like, oh, what's it? 16 orange dye. I could do that. Well, I could do that. No problem.
That's funny. That's crazy.
Unless she was meant to. I just.
Oh yeah, maybe her task was to do like a really bad deal. I've succeeded in my task.
Wait, what was your task?
Job done. It was just to become best friends with Etho without him realizing.
Oh, he's so. Dude, you're gonna diss what you did to me last session.
Right, it's always
So
right.
bad, but
just
in my
ditched
defense,
Fuck yeah.
in my defense, after about 20 minutes of being his best friend and hugging him with everything, he then told me to gather gravel for
No, I
Elvisha for Lizzie, and then walked off. Oh! Grian! I don't know why I shouted at you, I'm sorry. It was just
How hurt are you?
pretty hurt. I'm not in the best of ways.
I couldn't do much more than scream. I was stretching as you were explaining something.
I don't even know how that happened.
I managed to get my right, have my shield up just in. I don't think I took damage, unless I did.
Oh, I'm so glad, mate. So glad about that. To be fair, I took a suspiciously small amount of damage as well. I only took like 3 hearts, so I'm still on
Okay.
23.
I am going to take my next potion. We're gonna go to where there's 3 houses. This is it. This is what we're gonna do. That's 3 houses. Now I need to go. Can I make it all the way? 1 minute. I'm not gonna make it to Lizzie's, but I can make it over to Lizzie's, move her door. Now I need to build a base. I still don't know what I'm gonna build.
Hi.
We're so close. I can move. I need to move Lizzie's and all those 3. There was someone up there, so they've inspected the house. They now have looked at the doors. I could do with another invisibility potion, if I'm being honest. It's a lot easier when you can't be seen, because I can't be called out if they can't see me.
Hello?
Hello?
Now, remember when I gave you the cactus in the last episode?
Yeah.
Okay, you don't even have. I'll
Give
allow
me
you
your
to
heart.
Monopoly. No, it's a fair exchange.
Give me your heart.
I gave you the cactus for a Monopoly.
Yeah?
You can't do a man like that. Oh, my fault.
If you want this cactus,
Okay, fine. I'll give you the heart. What's the command?
/gift. It doesn't cost you anything.
There, I gave you the gift.
Yay! I don't have any. I gave it away.
No, you didn't. Hand it over.
I did. I gave it away. I gave it away.
There's 0 chance you gave it away. You wouldn't have given it to anybody. You and me, we know monopolies. You've got it in your back pocket.
Well, this would be a monopoly if I gained you.
I will just take the cactus rind, or whatever it is. The dye. Thank you. I just need it for dye because I'm gonna make a courthouse, and I need the red, yellow name hearts on the top.
Hey, Graham! John! Jeez! You can't do that to a man while he's crafting!
Oh, man. I think I can't.
You suck! Scare a man while he's crafting, dude. At least give me some iron. What? Oh, he's there. 40.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that, but I have to do it.
You had to do it? Oh, did you? What did you have to do, Etho?
I can't tell you. You have a sweet spot here.
Yeah. Honestly, I was thinking that this bridge, diagonal bridge, is kind of weird. I'm just gonna make like a piece of art going like in different diagonals.
Uh-oh, we have a situation, Graham.
That was a
Situation.
call.
He's after you.
Me?
Yep, you look great at him.
Did I? Look to who? Oh, what have you done? What have I done? Enderman?
He's after me. I'm doing myself.
Oh! Ah!
Oh no, run!
Ah!
You go, Graham.
I just very pushed myself! Oh. Suck.
Later.
I'm gonna do something really strange now. This may be the worst base ever.
Sure was.
I don't know why. I'm literally building this because I don't know what to do. This has no functional purpose. It's just what's happening. I don't know what this is. I don't like it. I don't know what I'm making, but I'm making it. They want me to go to their base, but I would like very much to make this abstract piece of art. Just endless staircases. Well, seeing as we've run out of birch, that's taken the decision out of our hands. What do I do from here?
He's right there, he's coming.
What is going on here?
Come on in. Oh.
Oh, you guys! You shouldn't have! Nice. Let's remember this moment when someone turns red, eh?
Isn't that amazing? Can you imagine?
Does anyone want to see my
No
TNT?
one's back. I like the fact there's no one's I like the fact there's no one's task because there's no boogeyman, no one was terrified. Just
Should we all come to one up in a 1x1 hole?
Hey, everybody! Hey, what's here?
Come on, everybody!
You just missed the ball.
Everybody get in place!
That's
Oh my gosh!
Come on, don't get me out of there.
This is a battle!
Let me in there, leave him in there.
Oh gosh! And then just
I
make
don't know
Scarlet
where it's supposed to be
fun.
going.
No, I'm out. It's
I really should have gotten that tower.
Oh, you made a helter-skelter!
Yeah, it's a nice little slide.
I like it. I like it
It's
a
the
lot.
fairground on the Joel's Mound. Oh, it took me full damage!
Oh, Joel.
There it is.
I'm gonna borrow some sugar cane, that's alright.
Well,
Well, it's happening.
yeah.
Yes.
Easy enough to visit my house.
When you live?
The cherry blossom area?
That was, no, I'm up on the mountain.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay. It's
Yeah.
just the doors were moved.
Right, that was definitely getting called out. I don't know which one's Scott's, but I can't use Scott's anymore.
I'm blown away about it. I don't have.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm liking what you're, I'm picking up what you're putting down here.
They paid a diamond for this.
Yeah.
Picking up what you're putting
I'm
down.
picking up what you're putting down. Picking up what you're putting down. Like this. I like this a lot.
I'm gonna punch you.
No, no.
Get out of here.
Okay.
Dance.
Not yours.
Oh, Martin! Oh no! Oh, he's gone yellow. That was surprisingly difficult. Okay. Now, because Scott called me out, his doesn't count. But the other two, that's fine. They're done. So that's 4.
No, that's not made that a thing.
Oh, little Brutons. How did they go?
Stop with the
Oh, little bitty. How did they go?
Right, that's it.
Bitty Bruton. What were you doing in there? That's a dangerous place to be.
I was bored, and I was exploring to see whether there was like blazes to get like fire resist potions or suicide.
Did you find any?
Suicide. I didn't find a fortress. I did find clearly a bastion. Yes.
Yeah. And did you get
It was
stuff?
weird. That's the annoying thing. I didn't get a single chest. I died before I managed it.
We can comfortably pay a visit to the secret keeper.
Where are you running to?
To the secret!
Oh, have you managed to fill up your task?
I've done it!
Nice. I'm gonna ask you what it was after we arrive, like a good person.
Oh, this is gonna taste tasty! Yay! Oh, and I got some diamonds.
That was a pretty good batch of items. Right, what was your task?
Oh man, it was heavy. I had to move 5 people's front door at least
You're the
twice.
person.
I'm the one that keeps moving everyone's doors. It's so hard not to get caught out.
So were you, and it was, if you got caught, it would be game over? Or,
No, well, if I got caught, I couldn't do that person anymore.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So Scott called me out. He just went up to me and went, "Did you move my door?" I was just like, "No, sir. No, not me."
That's pretty good.
Not
That's
me.
pretty good.
What's wild is that I did most of them while invisible. So
That's impressive.
yeah. So the fact that he called me out, he must have just been tracking my movements.
doors.
Yeah.
Man knows his doors.
It's like the
Have you
chicken.
finished your task yet, Tim?
Oh yeah.
Because
Wait, why
I'm gonna tell everyone. 20 minutes.
Don't say it, I'm just out of bed in yours, Mumbo, alright? Is that right?
There we go. Now,
I've got to work on these. Or I'm not gonna have somewhere to live. And I'm gonna tell you that.
you could triple back with us. Just
Come triple back real quick.
Alright.
Do I go on the top or do I go on the bottom?
I have started
you
quite
go
an
in the
abstract
Go in the middle.
build though that
I'm far enough over that you
I don't know where it's going, but it's. See, that's
Hey!
What did we go?
Look at this! Let me get my screen.
Yes.
Triple bug.
Look at that.
For the second time this episode, I've been sandwiched between two.
I feel like I missed out on something this episode with all of this
I don't know why.
Bugger.
I don't know why it keeps happening. Honestly, I couldn't tell you.
You've got to keep those there now, Mumbo, alright?
I have no idea if anyone noticed what I was doing this whole time. Still don't know what Big B's up to down there. What's this?
Whatever. I'll just run.
Follow me.
Not worth it.
I need to follow this up. Literally. Follow. Oh, okay. Thankfully, I didn't take damage. We can get an update on the back rooms. Right. It's time to.
Oh my goodness.
It's time to explain what's going on here.
Why? It's really bad. I'm embracing the back rooms. I might just actually turn this into some horror back rooms.
Have you finished your task?
Yeah, I did.
This has nothing to do with your task.
No.
What was your task?
I had to, not say a mob's name for 30 minutes?
Okay. So this has nothing to do with the task.
No, this is serious work here.
What is going through your head lately? I've had the weirdest interactions whenever I see you.
I hope they get weirder, but this should be the weirdest so far.
It looks like you're making a cell for everyone on the server.
Oh my god. This will become useful. That may not be a bad idea. Underground jail cell.
It's just so weird. I don't like it. Is this a way out? Because I want to leave.
It's a way. Everyone is free.
Right, I've got to achieve something. And we're gonna go weird. I think we're gonna make as many diagonals as possible, but for that I'm gonna need more birch, which I have very little of now. So that's what we're gonna spend. Oh, here we go. Right, we're gonna do some base building. No idea what I'm doing. No idea. I guess what I could do is have a way up that only I know. Everyone else is gonna get bamboozled. Time's up. I'm finished. Well, I've run out of birch. But this is what I imagine my brain looks like. It certainly feels like it today. I am a mush. Let's take a step back. Because... Oh, Tim. Tim's failed. Oh no! Let's go be in the stage. Oh my goodness. This is only the beginning. We're going way higher. We're going all the way. We're taking this to the top. The very top. I don't really know what's going on.
Right, I have failed, guys.
What happened? What did you need to do?
Do you know what I need to do? I literally just needed someone to say, get out of here.
Oh, Ethan!
That's everyone was so accommodating. It's never happened here. I moved into Pearls, didn't say anything, moved into Mumbo's, oh, you can say, and then I moved into Gem's. Gem literally said, get out of there, and I was
that's so funny, because I nearly said, let's get out of here, when I left Mumbo's house.
So, but the plus side is, I'm on 1.5 hearts, so, it's going to take half a heart, right?
No, it's just a normal task. No, you just failed, but you ought to hit it. You ought to hit the button.
It's probably the first,
Yeah, my
right?
storage room.
This is the first fail.
Standing here about to
I'd rather have died.
Alright, anyone else?
I feel
Lizzie,
Lizzie, what was the secret?
Lizzie, how do you feel?
I had to get 3 people to accuse me, and none of you accused me of any of the weird stuff I was doing.
What were you doing?
I was sneaking around people's houses. I was doing some really weird stuff.
I accused you actually of making a terrible deal, but not to your face.
Yeah. No, you had to accuse me of doing a secret task, and I did a lot of weird stuff, and none of you questioned it, which made me question myself.
I thought it was so obvious I didn't want
You haven't used the gift.
Oh wait, I haven't used my gift.
I think I deserve your gift because I got 1.5.
Who's not used their gift? Is it
Oh,
just
I
you?
didn't use a gift.
I've used mine, but I haven't. Fine, I'll give you mine.
I am going to gift it to Lizzie because you're mean to her.
Fail hard. I don't know if I want that.
I'm going to give myself. Can you give it up?
No.
How many hearts is everyone on?
Can you?
I'm on 1.
10.
27, 23.
I'm on 30.
Who was to sneak into my house and move my door around?
That was
Who
me.
was that?
That was me.
Okay.
First one I
You're
did.
invisible also.
I was invincible at one point.
You did it like 3 times. I can't believe it.
Yeah, so I got a good question for everyone.
Oh, no.
Did no one see the giant path with red blocks and think, what is that?
I followed it a couple times. What do you need to pause
You
it?
didn't go to the end?
It was really long.
Wait. I went to the end, Pearl, but there was a sign there that said that somebody already did it, so.
What?
I thought there's a sign. Did you
No,
write
don't
a
say what it
sign
is. You might
that
already
said, I did it, and I put it in the chat? Because there was a sign that said that there. So somebody did it.
You got confused. So technically it worked? Then?
Oh,
Because
so you put that sign there.
confused by the sign being split up into 2. You were supposed to type.
No, there were 3 signs.
Can I say it now?
There were 3 signs.
Yes.
Pearl, there were 3 signs.
If you say you failed,
Sounds of it.
I was there, so
You're the
you got me. But also I thought somebody had done it before me, so I didn't.
I think technically this would have worked. So, Lizzie, I think you might have gotten a little confused. There was 3 sides,
Oh yeah.
and 2 linked together. You were supposed to type in chat. Said I had to mow the trail, and I did what I was told. Second science might have gotten you a bit confused there.
Yeah, it did. No, that's my fault. That's my fault.
You know what
I
that
should
sounds like?
have just had to do the cave.
That sounds like
No, I went there. You didn't see.
It worked because it says send another player on a wild goose chase.
I did it. I did it.
Oh, you just failed now.
Oh, I didn't press the button.
I forgot about that. I
Oh, thank you. You're welcome. I'm sorry I messed it up.
I felt you were gonna say it. I warned you not to say it, and then you said it.
I
You were
forgot
trying
the
real hard.
I was trying really. I could feel it. I could feel that you were gonna reveal.
Yeah, I watched it.
Oh, yeah.
Before he.
You know what, that was actually really exciting.
Well, the same
Or I failed.
like last
Yeah, it's the highlight of my day.
Okay.
Alright, that's the end of that session.
Session.
Hello everyone, my name is Pixelriffs and welcome back to the Minecraft Survival Guide. I hope you're all having a good day. In today's episode we are back at the site of our moss dig, where I have now cleared out all of the ores from the entire chunk. And as you can see, it looks pretty colourful up there. We've actually got the geode up there in the wall, just that kind of corner chunk that we cut off the geode. We've got little bits of moss dappling the place, even a couple of light sources where I placed some torches as it gets dark. But we don't need to worry about whether it's light or dark, because we are going into the deepest, darkest place in the entirety of Minecraft. We're going to step into the ancient city that we dug into in the previous episode and explore. Even though we have one of these basically underneath the mountain right next to our base, I decided that we'd check out this one first, and that can prepare us for raiding the one that is a little bit closer to home. Before all of that though, I want to show you this, because I have left all of the ores in the walls of this chunk, so you can still see a few exposed diamond ores. There might be a few more emeralds up there. There's definitely a little patch of diamond right there where that massive ore vein was. But I removed the rest of these on the live stream, like I said I was going to, and it filled up a shulker box with the amount of stuff that we got. Now, of course, the majority of that is going to be coal ore from the heights of the mountain. We have a decent amount of iron, a couple of stacks of copper ore in there as well, a quarter stack of emerald ore, which I'm really very happy with, and almost half a stack of deep slate diamond. Shuffling these around into something that slightly closer resembles an order of some sort. There we go. We have this much coal. It's almost half the shulker box is coal, but then we got a decent amount of iron ore. We got 4 stacks and a little bit extra in the deep slate. We got 2 stacks of copper ore and 1 extra left over, and a decent amount of redstone, gold, lapis, and everything else. So that's going to get tucked away in the ender chest now, and the reason that I'm standing in this tray of water is that I basically built a giant scaffold all the way up through the center of the chunk. We let this water stream down here with hoppers in the center, collecting all of the ores that drop down, because I was fairly certain I would be able to collect them all if I just let them fall on the ground down here. And collecting the ores from the top down would mean that some of the blocks would fall onto the blocks below, and there was no way I was going to be able to collect all of them with how random items sometimes move in Minecraft. So that's what I ended up doing. Ended up with a little water catchment area here, the same way we do with our mob farm, and that worked out spectacularly well. Now, in order to get up into the ancient city, we are of course going to have to pillar up a little bit here and then break out this last little section so that we can make our way in. And I'm going to need to dip into my shulker box, and the netherite hook, despite the fact that it hasn't been used so much, still has over 160 durability, which with unbreaking 2 means is probably going to last for a little while. So I'm going to bring this with us because it has silk touch, and that will allow us to acquire some of the blocks that we're going to need to use a hoe on here in the ancient city. Like these skulk sensors right here by the entrance. Right now these aren't really doing anything to alert any skulk shriekers, so I'm not too worried about their presence here, but it is going to be helpful to remove some of these so that we don't end up triggering the warden in other areas of the city, so a silk touch hoe is going to be a good idea. The other thing I have brought with me in a great supply here is wool blocks. I've chosen a couple of colours that are really going to stand out here in the ancient city environment, alongside all of these cyan and darker colour palette blocks. Having some orange or yellow is really going to stick out like a sore thumb. And that's the idea, because we're going to be exploring by stepping on wool. You'll notice around here that if we tread on the wool blocks of this pathway, even if I end up jumping on a couple of these wool blocks here and there, we are not triggering the skulk sensors, similar to how we are if we walk around on the other blocks nearby. And that is not a proximity thing either, because right here I'm directly underneath the skulk sensors. That is really just the fact that wool occludes the sound of player footsteps. Now, if you don't have a wool farm set up already, there are a couple of options that you have. You can, of course, turn some iron into shears and pick up some of the wool that is in these pathways. Obviously, in some areas where the pathway is not as thick, you risk exposing some blocks that are going to make some noise. But around here, a lot of the pathways are made out of double thick layers of wool blocks, and that affords the player the opportunity to go around with a stack of wool that you've collected using shears. The skulk sensors also won't detect you breaking these wool blocks, so that's a really great way of gathering a bunch of wool and using it to escape detection from the skulk sensors. The other thing you can do, of course, is to sneak around everywhere, but that is both slower and is going to be harder to avoid detection from skulk sensors if you want to open up some of the chests that are going to be in some of these side rooms. And believe me, the loot in these ancient cities is something you will want to check out. So the first thing I'm going to do is grab some of the yellow wool that I brought with me, and we're going to make a little pathway out here. I can always do a couple of sprint jumps in case I want this to cover a little bit more ground. And we're going to make for this first little alcove over here. I'm going to hold shift whenever I feel like I need to, because I especially need to in here. What we got here is a little collection of 2 Skulk Shriekers and a Skulk Sensor or 2 right there. And the goal here is to prevent the Skulk Shriekers from hearing us, and from detecting any Skulk Sensor vibrations that occur nearby. So I think one of the things we're going to do quickly here before we get started is to cordon off any of the Skulk Shriekers around here. We'll put a block on top of this one as well, and we'll put a block behind there, and we will surround this one on 3 sides with wool blocks. I'm also going to pillar up over here just to make sure that there aren't any Skulk Sensors that are going to detect us on the other side of this wall, because that one there, I think it's just out of range to send a signal to this Skulk Shrieker. I don't think it's going to make it through that wall block there, because when we open this chest, any of these Skulk Sensors that trip the Skulk Shriekers in the vicinity are going to give us our first strike with the Warden. But hopefully, if I have done my job right, if we open this up, there we go, we ended up with no Skulk Shriekers alerted, and that's a very good thing. That means that the theory is sound, and that we can apply this to other Skulk Shriekers and sensors that we find alongside these loot chests. Because take a look at what's in these loot chests. For a start, we have a bunch of coal, that's going to be useful for us planting torches around here a little bit later. We've got some Skulk Catalysts, which are nice ways of spreading the Skulk blocks in future if we want them. We have a couple of fragments of a music disc, and this is kind of a puzzle that you can kind of put together over the course of your Ancient City raid. You can collect music disc fragments, and once you have enough of those, they can be turned into a secret music disc that can only be acquired here. We've also got some soul torches, which are just ready for atmosphere down here, a saddle, and some books. So nothing too special in this chest. I'm going to go ahead and mark that with an orange wool to say that we have opened that, and that nothing else in there is really worth us having for the moment. Now, as you can see, there are a couple of pairings of Skulk Sensors and Shriekers around here that will be a little bit difficult to defuse. The one thing I need to make sure of in this case is that there are no other Skulk Shriekers nearby these sensors, and it doesn't look like there are, so I'm going to break the Skulk Shrieker in this case, and even though that relayed sound to the other sensors over there, we didn't trip any other Shriekers in the city. So that's really the approach you need to take here. If you see a bunch of Skulk Sensors and Shriekers near each other and it doesn't look like you'll be able to just break one, then you need to surround one or the other of them with wool in order to make sure that the vibrations do not transfer. If you just see one Shrieker next to a bunch of sensors, or just one sensor next to a bunch of Shriekers, you can just break the one that is all on its own, and that should allow you to escape detection. Once you're certain an area is safe, I'm also going to recommend popping down a torch nearby so you can light up an area, and your progress through the ancient city will be a little bit more visible through the use of light sources that you brought in from the outside. The torches here are going to be brighter than the soul lanterns that you will find decorating these halls, so the presence of the wool there plus the extra light is pretty clear that we have been that way already. I'm going to go the opposite way now. We're going to head out in this direction, and we're going to see what is behind this wall here. We're going to see if there's a situation here that we can defuse. And it seems like this area is pretty much in the clear in terms of Skulk Sensors and Shriekers combining, but on the other side of the wall here, we have a couple of sensors that are potentially going to relay a signal to that Shrieker up there. So there are a couple of things we can do to make sure that opening this chest does not get us detected by these sensors. So one thing I can do is head down here and place some wool blocks around the faces of the Skulk Sensors that I feel are most likely to receive that vibration, including over the top. And having enclosed those from any vibrations, hopefully I should be able to open up this chest, and there we go. Only these sensors in this room are detecting me, the ones outside in the corridor are not. And normal stone will allow those vibrations to pass through, but wool will not, so we've managed to successfully defend ourselves from being heard in that case. And this chest has some very exciting stuff in it. We've got a bunch more books and a couple of enchanted books, including a new enchantment, Swift Sneak 3. That can be applied to your leggings to allow you to crouch walk almost as fast as you can run normally. So that's a really good book to have. We're going to be applying that to our leggings. We also have our first enchanted golden apple, which spawn with a much greater frequency here in ancient cities than they do anywhere else. We've got a regeneration 2 potion and a fire aspect enchanted book in there as well, along with a couple of sculk bits and pieces, the sculk catalysts, and so forth. Now my next port of call is actually going to be up here on this walkway where the sculk shrieker that we spotted is hanging out, because I want to hop up here and see if I can just disable this shrieker safely without being detected by anything in the neighbouring areas. And I think that might be the case here, so I should be able to just take this out with a Silk Touch Hoe. There we go, and that one has been diffused successfully. That will also allow me to reclaim a bunch of the wool from around here, and we don't need to worry too much about being heard by these sculk sensors anymore, since they won't alert that shrieker. Once again, we're going to light these up with torches so that it's apparent that we have been this way, and I think at this point I can probably come in here, pop an orange wool next to that chest just in case we want to come back here for the other enchanted books and whatnot, and the torch can go on there as well. The neighbouring room over here I had just noticed does have another sculk shrieker in it, so we need to be a little bit careful, hop to and fro on our wall blocks here just to make sure that we do not alert this one. And let's see what this has around it to alert it. It's got a sculk sensor right next to it, so we're going to apply a couple more wall blocks here. We're going to drop those around the sculk shrieker, and I think maybe around some of these sensors as well, just so we can remove the sculk shrieker without the sensor hearing us doing that. There we go. I think one of the other ones in the environment heard us doing that because I broke a block underneath, so that's something you need to be aware of. In this case, we didn't end up tricking a shrieker, so no strikes from us. This chest right here also contains a couple of interesting things. We got some music and some fragments. We got some leggings with mending and protection, and a lower levels with sneak, which could be worth keeping in reserve. Once again, I'm going to pop a wall next to that, so we're going to light that up, and it looks like we've reached the edge of the cavern where this ancient city generates. So once again, I'm going to continue lighting up the area around here, checking for shriekers where I can see them, but it looks like this part is currently in the clear. And I think the best way to explore these areas is to do it systematically, whether it's starting in the corridors and then branching out towards the outside, or whether you simply want to comb each quadrant of the ancient city until you've covered the entire thing. But in this case, it looks like we should be able to sneak out over here. There's a few sculk sensors on the ground back here, and if you notice, occasionally there's a sculk block with a couple more starry looking patterns and a slightly brighter texture. That is a sculk catalyst that's hiding in the ground, so we might want to come back and obtain that a little bit later if we're looking to get some more sculk catalysts from the area. We'll pillar up here to check if there are any shriekers in this room beyond. It doesn't look like there are, and I do not spot any other shriekers in this environment, so I think it's safe to walk around. We can hop on down here, place a torch, and check in this chest, because this has got some more riches for us. A Depth Strider enchanted book, we've got some diamond leggings, which unfortunately have a curse on them, that's a bit of a shame. A bit more amethyst in there as well, and a few more music disc fragments. We are only a couple away from reassembling a full music disc. You've got a few other things in here, some candles. I'll make sure to keep the coal with me, and of course, once again, we can pop an orange block next to that, just to keep our system going to say that we have looted this chest already. At this point, my inventory is getting a bit chaotic, so I'm going to turn to one of my empty shulker boxes. I guess we'll use this one, and I'm going to start storing some of the blocks and the sculk stuff specifically in here. We might start storing loot in this or a different shulker box as well. I think maybe we'll tuck that away in here. And I might continue to remove any sculk sensors from this area, so that if I'm exploring later and I don't hear any sculk sensors, I will know that I'm in the clear to walk around freely and that I don't have to sneak everywhere. Bear in mind, though, that these sculk sensors and potentially even shriekers can occur in these tiny little cubby holes underneath blocks, so just be aware of that when you're exploring this area, and don't take anything for granted. Of course, our primary goal here is to explore this entire structure, avoiding detection by the Warden, because we really don't want to tangle with the Warden at any point. It's a pretty tough fight. If anything, it's going to be something that you have to run away from. And if the Warden detects you, it will listen for vibrations in the same way that the sculk sensors do. Then it's going to head towards you, and the more it hears you, the angrier it will get. Once it's angry with a player, it homes in on you and will pursue you. So it's a little bit difficult to counter that. And if we don't end up encountering it during this raid, then we can look into different ways to counter and mess with the Warden in future episodes. But for now, I think we're just going to focus on looting this city and exploring it for all of the good stuff it contains. Sneaking up into this structure, which I was fairly confident didn't have any shriekers in, so I was okay placing a torch down here. There is a chest hidden behind this section of deep slate tile walls over here, so I'm just going to hop over here, probably remove all of these Skulk sensors since they are just laying around the place, and you'll notice that this area right here has a bunch of carpet laid down. Carpet will work the same as wall blocks for occluding your footsteps. So if you walk around on this carpet, there are Skulk sensors right there that aren't detecting me. So if you are short on resources, if you're short on wool and want a different alternative, you can use carpet, but bear in mind, carpet needs to be placed on some kind of block. Now let's open up this chest and see what we have. A Fortune 3 book is a very good find, along with more Swift Sneak books, which if I added them together with the ones we've already got, would add up to a complete Swift Sneak 3 books. So those are going to be very good to have in reserve, and I'm going to make sure that I add those to my stash in my ender chest. There are a couple of chests over here in the neighbouring building as well, but I am less confident that this one has no Skulk Shriekers around, so I'm going to stick to the wall paths here, and I think I'm going to briefly sneak downstairs and see if any Skulk Shriekers have made it into the structure here. Doesn't look like they have. No, I'm just hearing a couple of Skulk sensors ticking around the outside. So that's fine. This one is all in the clear as well. We have one chest upstairs here, which contains a couple of additional music discs. We've got another music disc fragment and name tag in there as well, and a little bit of extra coal for us. There is a second chest downstairs in this structure, which should be around the corner here. Yep, there it is. And this one contains the other side music disc, which you can otherwise find very rarely in dungeon chests and stronghold chests. We've got a bunch of Skulk, a couple of diamond horse armor, which is a nice find, and a very well enchanted hoe, a Fortune 3 hoe. Take that as the jungle sapling leaf breaker. We're going to put that in the cyan shulker box along with our other equipment, and we don't have fortune on that hoe, so that is a brand new one. All that needs is mending, and it's a fully enchanted hoe. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. We need to put an orange wool and torch here to make sure that we know where we have been. You'll also find that some of these wall-lined corridors will have these ladders that lead up to the walkway above, and these are not going to lead to you being detected by Skulk sensors if you sneak into them, because the ladder climbing action does take into account whether or not you are sneaking. Unfortunately, that means you won't be able to sneak down them, and so climbing down the ladder is going to have you detected by any nearby Skulk sensors. Something to keep in mind when you're exploring this area. Now let's take a look at this little section down here. There's a kind of altar down there with a couple of candles nearby and a couple of Skulk Shriekers. Now this is another situation in which we want to block off the Shriekers so that the sensors nearby will not give us away. Let's sneak down these steps and see if we can get in here and block these off. Now the thing you'll need to be aware of here is that even if you block off these Shriekers on all four sides, the top and bottom faces of the Shriekers are also going to be paying attention for any nearby Skulk sensor signals. So we need to be a little bit aware of that, and we'll probably take out this Shrieker first, because removing this is potentially going to trip some of the other Skulk sensors nearby. We also need to make sure that there aren't any other Shriekers hidden around here, and those candles almost look like a Skulk Shrieker from a distance there, so I'm slightly worried about that. There is also one over there in the corridor, so we need to pay attention to that, and I don't think we're going to trip anything by removing this one. There we go, okay, we got lucky with that, I think. Moving back up to the catwalk here so that we can see a little bit more of where we're going. I'm going to risk putting a couple of torches down up here, and thankfully that has not alerted any more Skulk sensors or Shriekers in the area. But we're going to move around here, sprinting and jumping whenever there are gaps in the walkway, like so, trying to stay on the wall where we can. We're going to come around to the front of this structure, because this is one of the most fascinating things about these ancient cities, and one of the questions about them which remains unanswered. This huge frame of sorts sits in the center of an ancient city. Anytime you explore one of these structures, it is going to have one of these, and its mouth is wide, almost as though to resemble the Warden itself, but it doesn't actually do anything at the time of this recording. Speculation is rife about whether or not these will present a portal to another dimension in future, or some other thing that we can interact with. All we know for now is that the frame is made of an unobtainable block called reinforced deep slate. You cannot collect this, and I believe if you are able to break it with a pickaxe, it simply destroys the block and does not drop anything obtainable. Underneath the portal here, there is a bunch of soul sand burning with a blue flame like you'll find in the soul sand valleys, but there isn't really a great deal else going on. on this side of the portal. However, you may find occasional anomalies in these structures, like for example over here, where a chiseled deep slate has been placed, where there isn't one on the opposite side, making it asymmetrical. And that is kind of meant to be a clue, because if you heard that piston move right there, that is the piston that moves when a skulk sensor below there detects your actions. And down here, below this portal structure, there is actually a little piston door. So what I'm going to do is quickly pillar up using the wall here. It looks like there aren't any shriekers around. I kind of checked the area as I was coming in, so we don't need to worry about detection here. If we stand on top of this and listen for that piston noise again, we can drop on down here and make our way in via the piston door. There are actually a variety of different mechanisms that can trigger this. One of them will actually listen for the noise of you eating a golden apple or opening a chest up there that contains a golden apple a lot of the time, so there are a couple of different ways to trigger this mechanism. But underneath here, you will actually find a series of... Oh gosh. Oh, I didn't mean to trigger that. I didn't realise there was a shrieker that close to the portal. Oh dear, well that's strike one, isn't it? Anyway, as I was saying, around here there are a bunch of different, redstone experiments, basically. Some of these side rooms are empty and don't contain anything, while others, like this one, explain a couple of mechanics of redstone. For example, how the redstone current from this block here can be passed through a solid block by a repeater and will pass a redstone signal out the other side, while this glass block, because it is transparent, does not conduct the redstone power through to the redstone dust on the other side, and that lamp won't light up. This is effectively a redstone tutorial area for players who are unclear about the mechanics of certain redstone blocks, and a target block can be demonstrated here, although I'm not going to fire at it because that might trip the same Skulk Shrieker that I just tripped a few seconds ago. There's also a lectern with a comparator and a lamp there to indicate that if you put a written book in a lectern, the comparator will actually read which page of the book is currently open and can output a redstone signal, which can light up that lamp. In here we have an example of a redstone delay clock with a pulse extender made out of several redstone comparators. When we flip the switch, all of this lights up and it incidentally reopens the doors over there by the entrance, and when we flip that off again, the signal decreases one block at a time, turning the lamps off in sequence until the last lamp switches off and the entire circuit is dark again. Let's also not forget this little section here, which shows you how a piston door can work with a decent setup of repeaters and pistons, although I don't believe this design takes into account the redstone quasi-connectivity present on Java Edition, where powering the top piston is going to power the piston below. I'm going to break this redstone so that we can come and go as we please. We can step back out into the city here and let's continue exploring for loot. Opposite this giant frame here, you should also find a series of archways that kind of lead through the center of the city, flanked by pillars on either side. You'll also find some smooth basalt blocks here, which are normally the exterior of an amethyst geode. Bear in mind that this walkway will not be covered in wool, so you might need to bring some wool of your own. If it's been overgrown with skulk, it has the potential for shriekers to notice you. But this area can actually be a great landmark to orient yourself from if you get lost exploring these areas, because the cities are always really large. If your goal is to look for loot, though, the majority of the time you're going to find it in the side rooms around here, where the chests have been left near these altars, almost as though they are some sort of offering, perhaps to the warden, perhaps to something even more sinister. We're going to bridge over here using our yellow wool once again to mark the direction of travel, and let's see if there are any Skulk Shriekers around here. It looks like there is just one up here on this balcony. I don't see any others, but I will quickly check the floor around here in case any more have generated on the floor of Skulk. No, it looks like this one might be the only one in this area. We should break this, and fingers crossed, we are in the clear. Excellent news. Alright, let me grab that real fast. There's a couple of others over there, but they seem far enough away that we should be able to open these two chests without any repercussions. Let me quickly check the floor down here just to make sure we're safe. Yep, I think we are safe. Okay, well let's check this chest here. That's got a couple more music disc fragments, which means we've completed that music disc. And let's see what's in this chest neighboring it. A Bane of Arthropods 1 book. Oh, that's a little bit sad. Well, one of the other things we've got in here is a brand new item, an Echo Shard, and if we get hold of some of those, we'll be able to use those to craft a Recovery Compass, an item which points to the location of your last death, in case you need to go back there and recover your items. Additionally, these ancient city structures are some of the only places where you can find mob heads out here in the wild. We've talked in the past, of course, about dragon heads, we've got one of those, but we've never held a skeleton skull in this series before. Like the other mob heads, you can wear it as a helmet, but it doesn't really do anything in the way of protection. However, we will explore a couple of interesting side benefits to a skeleton skull a little bit later in the series. For now, we're going to bridge over to this neighbouring room where I did see a Skulk Shrieker, so I need to be a little bit careful to make sure I don't trip that. Especially since this little room here has a trap of sorts. There are 2 pressure plates here with 2 note blocks nearby, and of course, if you step on the pressure plate, that's going to cause the note block to chime, alerting any nearby Skulk sensors and Shriekers to your presence. This one down here seems like the main thing we have to remove, so let's get rid of that, and fortunately there were no other Skulk Shriekers nearby, so we are in the clear. We can just get rid of a few of these just so they're not as noisy, and I will draw your attention to the ice blocks around here. We're actually standing above the Ancient City Ice Room, which is a structure that usually generates inside of these cities. I've never known a city to not have one of these, but if you stand on a pressure plate nearby, it will open an iron trapdoor, and if we descend into here, you'll find an additional loot chest down here, which is usually filled with a couple of supplies, including some snowballs. These are a hint at the fact that if the warden spawns, you can use projectiles to distract it. It will be drawn to the sound of where a snowball nearby ended up making an impact, and it will be potentially drawn away by that sound, so that you can sneak around. But since we know we're safe in this room for now, I'm going to tuck away all of the other loot that we've gotten from the city so far, and it's time to move on. If we head out this way, we can head back to the wall walkway, from which it looks like there are a couple of basically ruined rooms to either side of the walkway here. There's a lot of Shriekers around here, though. I did notice this one up here, and I think I'm going to block off this sensor just in case it alerts the Shriekers that are lower down. I think I can probably get rid of this one without too much harm befalling me. Yes, there we go, managed to get away with that one. Now let's see if we can make our way to the Shrieker down here and get rid of that one as well. Paying close attention to our surroundings, making sure that there are no other Shriekers immediately nearby. Yep, looks like we got away with that one as well. We're doing pretty well, actually. I'm going to bridge out to this room over here next to the ice room, where I don't see any more Shriekers, but I'm going to drop down safely if I... Nope, I did not drop down safely. I thought I was going to place a wall block, and I didn't. So that is, I believe, strike 2, and it looks like I wouldn't have been able to do much about that because the Shrieker is down there below this block. So that's pretty sneaky placement, if you ask me. I'm going to remove that real fast. And thankfully there wasn't another Shrieker nearby that was going to be alerted. Fortunately I was able to remove the Shrieker though, so we can open up this chest, and we've got a Swift Sneak 3 book along with another enchanted diamond hoe. At this point you're probably getting a feel for the loot we're getting from this ancient city. It's a bunch of enchanted books, a couple of enchanted tools, and some unique items like the Echo Shards and the music disc fragments. Enchanted golden apples are obviously very valuable to us as well, but there are a couple of bits and pieces we could expect to find down here if we are lucky. Ancient City should have the potential to have not 1, but 2 armor trims down here, so if we are lucky we might be able to come across at least one of those and potentially both. But of course loot like that is never guaranteed, so we're just going to take what we can get from this area, and it looks like whatever room might have been here is no longer there, so we just have a couple of Skulk Shriekers that we need to be concerned about. And I'm going to sneak around to see if there is anything in this room here, because this looks like Shrieker Central. As far as I can see, there aren't going to be many ways of blocking all of these off. There is a chest in here that we need to open, and it looks like there is. Okay, so one thing we could try to do is occlude the sound of the chest from anything else in the vicinity by surrounding the chest itself. Looks like there aren't any Skulk Shriekers behind here, so if we build a fairly thick ball of wool around this, let's use the orange wool for that as well, and let's see if we can block off the sound of this chest opening from anything else in the area. Yeah, there we go, we managed it. We have the amethyst shards, we have another other side music disc, another music disc fragment for disc 5, but we're doing pretty well at this point. I'm going to put my torch inside of here, and thankfully we've avoided detection by the 1, 2, 3, 4 Shriekers that were all stacked up in this area. So I'm going to take my wool blocks and sneak back over to the walkway. We're going to leave this area alone for now. There are of course reasons you might want to leave these individual Skulk Shriekers where they generated, because remember, once you pick these up and place them elsewhere, they don't have the capacity to summon the warden. Only naturally generated Shriekers can do that, and so it makes the most sense to leave a couple of them around in the event that you would like to summon the warden in future. If you're not sure exactly why you would want to summon something like the warden voluntarily, then stay tuned for the future of this series, because we're going to be doing some wacky stuff involving the warden. I think you need to like it. Anyway, the deep dark biome stretches off into the caves beyond, but we have more city to explore, and I'm going to sneak my way up these ladders, head back through to the central frame, and pretty much explore this quadrant of the city in its entirety. Although I just spotted this room over here that looks like we might not have explored it yet, so I'm going to sneak my way over there. I've already spotted a Sculpt Shrieker that I need to be aware of. I'm going to be extra careful as I pillar up here and see if there's anything worth looting inside of here. That looks like it might be, and once again we have a Shrieker directly next to the sensor, so I'm going to try and break the Shrieker first. There we go, no other Shriekers detected me. I don't know if there's any more in here. Doesn't look like there is. What about on the other side of this wall? Nope, looks like we're in the clear to open this chest as well. And there it is! We have one of the unique armor trims for the ancient city. We have the Ward armor trim. Very happy that we have found that. We also get another enchanted golden apple. 2 enchanted golden apples in fact for our efforts. That is wonderful news. Pop down the orange wall and torch, and that's going in the ender chest straight away. Very happy that we found that. While we're still exploring, I keep spotting structures that we haven't raided yet, and I don't think there are going to be any Shriekers in this one. From a distance I didn't see any, so we can pillar on up here. And it looks like there is a cluster of Sculpt sensors on this side. Quickly going to check over my shoulder before we open up this chest, and it's worth it because we've got some diamond leggings in there, a bunch of glowberries and a few other bits and pieces, but nothing else too special. With that, we seem to have circled around and come back onto the other side of the area where our dug out chunk is, and we know that there's not any Sculpt Shriekers around here, so we can go in here and get another Swift Sneak 3 book. That's fantastic. That's the only loot I wanted from that chest, but of course we can grab anything else in here if we want to. Doesn't look like we have any Shriekers around here, but you can't be too careful, so I'm going to block off that Sculpt sensor and a couple more enchanted books, a cursed book as well. That's not all that worthwhile. We'll maybe bring the other side disc with us, but I don't really fancy either of those other books. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. I said I was going to head back in towards the central portal frame, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. Now, which way was that? Oh, that might potentially be Strike 3, although I don't know for how long I have been exploring at this point, and the subtitles can actually give you a clue as to the stage of the Warden's anger at you. So if it says Warden approaches, I'm pretty sure that is one of the earlier stages, and it's only when Warden draws close pops up that you really need to worry. Now over here on this side we have a tower where I'm going to preemptively put a torch down because it's one of the few places that I can see there isn't a Shrieker around. And we're just going to pillar up to this second layer where it doesn't look like a chest is waiting for us. Is there anything further up here? Maybe towards the top? Ah, yes, here we are. There's a chest on the upper level which contains a few goodies. Look at that. 3 enchanted golden apples in a single chest. And a bunch more echo shards, which we've been needing because we don't really have too many of those yet. And you need 8 of them, I believe, for the recovery compass crafting recipe. Let me check that real fast. Yes, you do need 8 of them surrounding a normal compass. So that's the reason you find compasses in these chests occasionally, and the reason we need 8 echo shards. Also a Swift Sneak 2 book, which I guess I will take, and enough music disc fragments to get us over the line for a second music disc find. So we've been pretty successful in tiptoeing around the ancient city for the last little while, but from this point onwards I'm going to be a little bit more daring about what I do, because frankly I think it's a more entertaining video for you folks if we get to see the Warden at least once. So I'm going to break on into this chest over here next to the Sculpt Shrieker. We're going to look into that, and it's going to be worth it because we have a bunch of enchanted books in here. And there we go, the Warden advances. We're hearing the Warden coming in there. I'm going to hop down onto a wall block over in this direction, and we should be able to get away from that room. But on the other side over here, yeah, no, it's definitely going to hear me now. There we go, the Warden draws close. That is, I believe, our 3rd strike, and on the 4th, the Warden should emerge. But I think for over here, we are basically done. There is one more room on this side, and there's definitely a Sculpt Shrieker nearby there, so we're going to be a little bit careful. We want to spawn the Warden in a slightly more controlled capacity here, but I also want to show you folks what happens when the Warden hears you grabbing his stuff. So we're going to open this up, we're going to take that diamond hoe, and now the Warden should be coming, and it's emerging basically right next to us. So there he is, crawling out of the Sculpt, and he's going to start sniffing around for whether or not he can detect us. When the Warden starts sniffing, it will be able to detect you within a certain range of it, and it's going to start making its way towards you. What you mainly want to avoid is it hearing your footsteps, so we can use the wall walkways around here to put some distance between us and the Warden. At that point, the darkness effect that was started by the Shriekers and continued by the Warden should start to wear off, and if you can't hear it sniffing you anymore, you will know that you are outside of the radius where it can potentially detect you. and it's safe to observe it from a distance. Since we are in the heart of the deep dark biome here in this ancient city, the Warden isn't going to be distracted by the noises of any other mobs, since nothing else is going to spawn down here that will attract it. It's just going to wander around fairly aimlessly for now, still trying to search for a player, but it's not going to inflict you with that darkness effect unless it gets closer, which unless it sniffs you or hears your footsteps is going to happen by sheer chance. Sounds like it's trying to sniff me out though, and it may be coming around that corner in a second. I am just kind of curious to see what movements it is making, and there we go. It sounds like the Warden has now dug away into the Skulk again. So I'm glad we all got that out of our systems. We managed to have an encounter with the Warden and survive, and it's really just about putting enough distance between yourself and the Warden. If the cabin roof is high enough, for example over here where we have a slightly higher ceiling to account for the taller structures, you can even pillar up 20 or so blocks, and that should put you outside of the range of the Warden's detection or any of the long-range attacks it has. From which point, if you are daring enough, you can fire down on it with a bow, and if you are certain that you're outside of the range of its sonic boom attack, then you might be able to deal enough damage to kill the Warden yourself. But honestly, I don't recommend trying that on your first visit to an ancient city. It's much better saved when you have a little bit more experience with these places. Speaking of experience, one of the things that you should experience is this room here, in more or less the center of the cities. It's kind of off to one side in this case, but you'll often find that there are these piles of wool in kind of Minecraft Stevie colors. These are blue, cyan, and light blue blocks of wool that you will find somewhere inside the ancient city and can be used as a sort of top-up of sorts for if you've started to run out of any wool or with you, or alternatively can be a great place to grab some wool if you don't have them already. But another really interesting detail of these is that if you break away a bunch of the blocks around here, you'll notice that this deep slate has actually been formed into a staircase. There's actually carpet and stuff around here, so this is more or less, I believe, if you break out one of these wool blocks, you find a campfire. There is this notion that this area has been used as a campsite. And whether that's happened before or after the ancient city is here remains to be seen, but it's kind of an interesting facet of these areas, how there is effectively this collapsed-in wool tent that has a table in the middle and a campfire to one side. Let's make our way in that direction and see if there are any other side rooms that we haven't investigated for their loot yet, because I'm still holding out hope that we find that second armor trip. Okay, this one here, definitely a huge trap, because we've got 2 Skulk sensors and 2 Shriekers right there, so I definitely feel like this is one where we have to block off the chest so they don't hear me opening it. Hopefully that should be enough. Yep, there we go. We tripped one sensor on the outside, but honestly it wasn't worth it because there's nothing much in this chest that I want. Looks like over in this direction the city ends there, so let's quickly check this chest. I don't believe there are any Skulk Shriekers around here. Nope, I definitely just tripped the sensors by sprinting for a second there. There we go, we should have a decent handful of Echo Shards now. I don't know if it's quite enough to make a recovery compass, but we are getting close. Need to be a little bit careful of this Shrieker down here that's positioned right next to a Skulk sensor. Just going to take that one out, no others nearby, sounds good. We have one up on the second floor of this structure where a couple more chests are going to have generated, so I might as well pillar up and check if there aren't any more we can get rid of this one. Crossing my fingers and... we're good. Okay, thank goodness for that. Right, now let's see if we have a second chest up here on this floor, which we do. Okay, that's our Echo Shards. Definitely made our quota on those. Loads of glowberries and another fortune efficiency, and this time mending diamond hoe. That's kind of wild. 8 Echo Shards is a pretty good total. We have so many enchanted books and stuff at this point as well. We've got all of these Swift Sneak books and the Unbreaking 2 I actually want to keep because my Netherite hoe actually only had Unbreaking 2 this entire time. And finally, having disabled the Shriekers, we can make our way down to the bottom floor here where there's another chest waiting for us, and that's got another 2 enchanted golden apples, an infinity book, and a hoe with Curse of Vanishing, which I'm probably going to leave here because we've got enough hoes by this point and I don't need one that disappears on me. And at this stage, looking at my surroundings, I'm fairly confident that we've made a pretty thorough sweep of this ancient city, but I'm still finding occasional little side buildings, internal structures here and there that we haven't explored yet. So we're going to sneak up on this one, but this may be the last one that we actually need to loot. At this point, I don't think there are any Shriekers around, so I'm going to throw caution to the wind and just open it up, and unfortunately it doesn't contain any armor trims or anything else that we are still looking for. So that is pretty much it for this area, I believe. Is this central tower structure still one that we have not explored? It looks like it. There's a Shrieker right there. Let me see if I can disable this one so we don't have to tangle with the warden one more time. And let's make our way up this tower to see if one more loot chest awaits us at the pinnacle. I see it up here. What's it got for us? Barely anything, unfortunately. Well, what a shame. Well, folks, looking around, it looks like we've made a pretty decent, thorough sweep of this area. And look at me, I'm just dropping off these things now. I'm pretty sure that we have done everything we came here to do. So we're going to head back through to the center of our fabulously dug out chunk here. And we can take a quick look around this city from here. You can see the path of light that we have drawn throughout this place, making sure that we know everywhere we have been, and I'm fairly certain that is absolutely everywhere inside of this city. Now, of course, we do have an ancient city underneath the mountain near us, and we can go and explore that at a later date. But what incredible loot we have found. We've gotten basically half a box of enchanted books. I haven't had enough room to fit them all in here. We've got a bunch of enchanted golden apples. We're adding 2 more to that number. Enough echo shards to make a recovery compass. Enough music disc fragments to make 2 more music discs, aside from the other side music discs that we found in here. A bunch more diamond tools and a skeleton skull for the first time in the series. Considering that we started this episode looking at a shulker box of riches, I think it makes sense that we end the episode looking at a shulker box of riches as well. So folks, thank you so much for watching this episode of the Minecraft Survival Guide. I do hope you've enjoyed the episode, and best of luck if you go looking for the ancient cities yourselves. Thank you so much for watching the Minecraft Survival Guide. My name has been Pixelrips. Don't forget to leave a like on this episode if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you folks soon. Take care. Bye for now.
I want to upgrade the tunic before I go. Try it again. You recognize the apple, but not the acorn? The heck? Here they are.